Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Amazons.
Thank you. Welcome to your new season of your all-new Amazons. I'm Aisha Faludi. Please welcome my co-anchor, Bimbo Thomas.
Thank you, Aisha. Thank you.
Today on the Amazons, we are talking cannabis. Cannabis may well prove to be the wonder drug of the century. Many scientists all over the world, especially the developed countries, are exploring cannabis to be the treatment or even cure for conditions ranging from cancer to epilepsy to autism to asthma or even insomnia.
And the international projected market for cannabis is projected to hit $31.4 billion by the year 2021.
Welcome to your all-new Amazons. We'll be talking more of cannabis after the break. Welcome back to your all-new Amazons, where today we are talking cannabis, or as we call it in Nigeria, marijuana. Just as Bimbo was introducing, he gave us the figures, the numbers, that the growth rate for cannabis is expected by the year 2021 to hit $31.4 billion. That's huge. And there's even a market research, Brightfield, who has estimated that for this year alone, 7.7 billion and an estimation of a growth rate of 60%. That is when more countries make the law, they liberalize the law for the use of marijuana. But the health benefits is huge. But the way we see marijuana in Nigeria,
seriously,
or cannabis,
I'm equally shocked because I don't totally agree with that. Here in Nigeria, what we know is that smokers are liable to die young, and cannabis is deadly, is harmful, is narcotic. And if they say there is health benefit for it, so are we to say that, okay, people can take it as long as they, because it's going to heal? Mm-hmm. Or
I don't think the usage for this cannabis, we are still going to have experts who will come and educate us more about these health benefits and the research. Mm-hmm. But from my own thinking, I'm thinking the medical usage of cannabis is not by inhalation. Yes. It's going to be by drug usage, just like you have steroids that is used for killing pains, for chronic pains, for cancer. Steroid is also harmful for the body if you take it, if it's not controlled medically in its
like the
usage.
abuse, you mean?
Yeah, like
it shouldn't be abused.
Yes. So, because I was also wondering, if you say narcotics, if you say cigarette, is dangerous to health, it's even there's a warning saying, smokers, they are not likely now. They put it, you will die young. No. Why would I take cannabis if I can see the smoke? But, if they now say it's for health benefits, maybe it's not by smoking or inhalation, it's by oil usage, it's by some kind of medical components and composition that has not now turned it to be,
Well, I think until it's further proven that it's good for the health and the benefits are more than the harm, maybe Nigeria should then go ahead and do what? And key into these benefits and let it be helpful to the society.
I just hope we can have an open mind for this, because truly and honestly, in developed countries, research is going on daily on many ailments. If they say cannabis is now good for controlling or even cure for so many terminal illnesses, I think we may just as well key into it. We will discuss this more after the break. We are talking cannabis on Amazons today.
The government is also concerned that how do you control the addictiveness of it? How do you control the usage? How do you put measures in place to make sure it's not abused? Because it is classified under narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances. And every narcotic and psychotropic substances are substances that will, take the brain to a different dimension, okay, temporarily until it eases off.
There are a lot of things people abuse. Even codeine is being abused. When I was younger, that was the only, in the 60s when I was born, that was what if you make, that's the only thing. So go and bring codeine, there's Benelin with codeine, there's this. It was taking care of those things. But when abuse comes in, that's where the social factor comes in.
We have the other species, which is the marijuana. That's the popular one, really. That is the one that carries a high dose of the psychoactive elements called THC, or tetrahydrocannabinol.
Welcome back to the Amazons, and we're still discussing the topic, cannabis, the new wonder drug. Welcome with me, our guest, Mr. Newton Isirame, is a cannabis researcher, and Mrs. Iyabo Abare, she's a social worker.
Well, thank you for joining us on Amazons. Cannabis, the new wonder drug. How is that? How is that possible that cannabis, what we know of cannabis is when you smoke it, you're high, you hallucinate, you behave out of character. How, I can't reconcile that. The new wonder drug, as you see in cannabis, and the traits that we know cannabis by.
Cannabis, I would want to emphasize, is a plant that carries chemical compounds that are beneficial to human health. Now, we need to also get this very clear. Cannabis is a plant family that has two very important species. One of the species is the hemp plant, which has CBD or cannabidiol that carries serious health benefits. It does not contain the psychoactive elements that has turned out to be the order, which is what people know, that when you take anything cannabis, you go high. So the hemp plant has 100% of the cannabidiol compounds, which are health beneficial. And then we have the other species, which is the marijuana. That's the popular one, really. That is the one that carries a high dose of the psychoactive elements called THC, or tetrahydrocannabinol. The marijuana species is also medicinal, all right? It also has medicinal benefits. But of course, we know that generally that has been put to serious abuse because there is the recreational side of cannabis. Well, here we are talking about the medical side. And I want to say that cannabis per se is not a drug. The plant contains elements that can be beneficial to the human health.
Okay, so that means to say that cannabis is herbs. Can we say cannabis is herbs?
Thank you so much. Yes, it's a herbal material.
Mrs. Abare, for you as a social worker, when does it become abuse? We've heard that even cannabis has species, the hemp and the marijuana. The marijuana is the one that contains the psychoactive element. The hemp one is a silent one.
When you say hemp, what comes to mind is Igbo, or is the psychoactive one. So that's why she was asking if you say it's cannabis, we have it like a diagram, where this is cannabis here, the main compound, then you have the hemp, and then you have the marijuana. They are different species. But if you call it hemp, fine. But if you want to say that people consume it and take it, and maybe on the social aspect, maybe as a social worker, as he says, it's abuse. There are a lot of things people abuse. Even codeine is being abused. When I was younger, that was the only, in the 60s when I was born, that was what if you make, that's the only thing. So go and bring codeine. There's Benelin with codeine. There's this. It was taking care of those things. But when abuse comes in, that's where the social factor comes in.
Mr. Isirame, I begin to, play it in my head. How do you control the drugs such that people do not abuse it and get high on it like we know it to be, and begin to see the health benefits? And why are medical doctors, why are they shying away from, even discussing the health benefits of cannabis?
I'll also throw some light here. The human body in the first instance has its own natural cannabinoids. There is an endocannabinoid system in the human body.
Meaning?
Okay. The endocannabinoid system in the human body produces chemical substances that feed the immune and the central nervous systems. And we know that those two systems regulate all other organs in the body. Now, at some point in time in life, the endocannabinoid system could get weakened. So when somebody reports that he's not feeling well, it is because the immune system is not functioning as it should function. All right? So, where does cannabis come in? The central nervous system, by the reason of the presence of the endocannabinoid system naturally in the body, already has a receptor in the brain. It is called CB1, and then receptors in the rest of the body and in the immune system, which is referred to as CB2.
Okay, so it's really important for us here on Amazons to let the viewers know that we are not in any way supporting the abuse of marijuana. What we are doing here is getting better educated about cannabis. I'm getting to learn now that cannabis is a species of herbs. It is also it's divided into two. From the cannabis, you get the hemp and the marijuana. I never knew that before. What we knew of marijuana is the one that gets you high. It can be called ganja. It can be called Igbo, you have all kinds of street names for it. But the one that we are concerned about here is, when does it become healthy for one to take cannabis? That will be after the break. When does it become healthy? And when does it become an abuse? We need to know the difference between the two. You're watching Amazons after the break.
The people that actually sell these drugs, they are the people that sell the granules, they sell them the peanuts, that sell those things, they are under. So you can't say, let's ban the people doing it. They have a way of getting it.
Welcome back to the Amazons. And if you're just joining in, we're discussing the topic, cannabis as a wonder drug in this part of the world. Now to you, Mrs. Iyabo Abari. As a social worker, how many abuse have you recall or recorded from young people or anyone at all for this abuse of overuse of this cannabis as a drug or as just an habit?
What I'll likely say is, I don't really have like maybe some statistics, but if you go into our schools, basically with the young people, because even those who are older started it when they were young people, when they were youth, you understand? And if you look at, the rate at which our young people, are getting into drug addiction, it's not mainly from hemp or Igbo. Now there are new trends of, maybe taking all sorts of, even pharmaceutical tablets and all that, that makes them go on the high. But I think if we want to really talk about it, it has to do with like educating them. Because even if you say, let's regulate, let's put a law, are you going to be there when they go to those? The people that actually sell these drugs, they are the people that sell the granules, they sell them the peanuts, that sell those things, they are under. So you can't say, let's ban the people doing it. They have a way of getting it to the young people. But I believe that there's something that MTN is doing now, like educating all the young people. If I'm educated, and you come to me and then you tell me something, and maybe like a friend, you say, let's go get this, and I'll tell you, no. Were you not there the other day? There was a topic on usage and, addiction. I'm not going there. I'm not going to take it. Then I can educate, that young person can educate the other people. It's like a teacher teaching the teacher.
You said something very, that really caught my attention. Yeah. Accessibility of marijuana to the young people, especially in schools. Yeah. In the boarding houses, it's been discovered that even the cleaners, are the ones supplying cannabis to our children in schools. And how do we, regulation is really very key, and monitoring and control. It's not enough for education. I mean, you educate a child, it's at liberty to take what you say or, or not take it. But when it becomes difficult for them to access cannabis, as it were, then it is also almost impossible for them to abuse what they cannot get.
What I would say is, first of all, they have to know what it is. Some people don't even know how it looks like. Some people feel it's wrapped in one big thing or the other. So the first thing we have to do in schools is to show them. You can give me a tablet. I'm a young girl. I'm following this young boy. Say, just take it. You have a headache. And I take it, and I'm passed out. I don't even know what I'm taking in. That's what I'm saying. That's where the education comes from. Does it look like this? Is this the species? How does it look like? As a social worker, it's the duty of those in schools to let them know this is it. It's like giving sex education to your daughter. You don't say, and when the man touches you, you're pregnant. Seriously? Do you understand what I mean? Yeah. They are young people. They are in their class. They are in their group. They don't want to listen to you. You are old school. They have their mates. They have their friends. But if I have educated my daughter enough to know, she will tell you, let me see, what's that thing? No. I know that stuff. I'm not going to take it. It's going to make you look like this. But when they don't know, that's where education, and then you have to be physical and tell them and show them.
I'd like to thank you so much, Mr. Newton Isirame and Mrs. Iyabo Abare, our cannabis researcher and social worker. Thank you so much for joining us on Amazons.
Thanks.
We'll be back after the break. We're still talking cannabis on Amazons today.
The use of cannabis in Nigeria by individuals or the citizens is illegal by Section 19, subsection 1 of the NDLA Act. It is said that whoever is in possession, not just use now, whoever is in possession, whoever uses, whoever harbors anyone who keeps it in possession, they are all culpable. And the penalty for this is not less than 15 years imprisonment, and the maximum is 25 years imprisonment.
Welcome back to Amazons, where today we are talking cannabis and getting better educated about the usage of cannabis, the abuse, the medicinal benefits, and also the recreational benefit. But it's time now for us to look at the legal, whether has cannabis been legalized in Nigeria? What does the law say about cannabis, the use of it in Nigeria? Joining us on Amazons is Barrister Evans Ufeli. He's a legal practitioner. Welcome to Amazons.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So tell me, what does the law really say about the use of cannabis in Nigeria?
Well, the use of cannabis in Nigeria by individuals or the citizens is illegal by Section 19, subsection 1 of the NDLA Act. It is said that whoever is in possession, not just use now, whoever is in possession, whoever uses, whoever harbors anyone who keeps it in possession, they are all culpable. And the penalty for this is not less than 15 years imprisonment, and the maximum is 25 years imprisonment. The reason for this is
without
because,
option of...
No, without option of fine. without option of fine. That is the penalty, okay? It is not because the government is not aware that it has some benefits. It is not because research have not gone out here to find out how best this can be used. It's because of certain components, certain elements of human conduct and behavioral disposition. One of which is that this thing is addictive, okay? If you are using it for the health benefits and all that, you also need to educate further that other than that it is beneficial to the health, the government is also concerned that how do you control the addictiveness of it? How do you control the usage? How do you put measures in place to make sure it's not abused? Because it is classified under narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances. And every narcotic and psychotropic substances are substances that will, take the brain to a different dimension, okay, temporarily until it eases off, okay? So while we look at it, we need to also look at it objectively that there is part of persons in society that may not be able to control or go the full hog as regards how this can be curtailed, how it can be managed, and how it can be used adequately. The research experts did a fantastic job, by telling us the health benefit, the medical angle, the herbal connotation, the properties it contains, that even in the body, you have this property in the body resident already. So the listener should know that, so that they will not conclude and say, since they say Igbo dey our body, we just take her. The government is not even concerned with the classification. The classification they gave now is that you have certain part of it, the species, that is not necessarily harmful in terms of highness. And then there is the one that is, high, that gets you high. You understand? The government puts a ban on whatever species you have for reasons that it has a capacity to be abused, it is addictive, it has all the, things that we create some negative thoughts.
This will take me to the question. I think with all you've said and all we've heard and how they have educated us on how beneficial this herb is, I feel that it's high time this country take a second look into it and see how we can concentrate more on the benefits, the medicinal benefits on the use than the other side of the highness. If you look into what I'm saying. Yes. So like we can lift a ban or look into it, just adjust
some kind of regulation.
Regulations.
For it to work.
Yes, we already have regulations in place, but the regulation is rather too strict. The regulation has not given room to explore the advantages, okay? You can imagine possession, not even use. What if it's my possession, I'm a researcher? Do you get that? Possession, you are culpable already. So I think you are right. The government should look at the next phase of this thing, okay, all over the world. I'm not saying that the government should legalize it, but I'm saying that there should be proper and a flexible look at it so that we can get the advantages, so that we should be able to export it. You understand? And since we're talking about agriculture now as a new way to wealth creation, okay, we should also be exploiting how best can those who produce this, which of the species is necessary, which of the species should be disbanded, and get either a commission, not just NAFDAC, because NAFDAC is just to clamp down. Even though they have a laboratory team, they have departments that, but I think the department that looked into the component of these drugs should be pronounced, should be made more visible, and so that they can possibly put a ban on and then provide the seedlings that is of the best kind, which can be used internally and be exported. That is how countries create wealth.
That's true. Now that you've said it, I mean, well, during our intro, we said, $31.4 billion, by 2021 for the economic growth of cannabis, and by this year alone, $7.7 billion. I mean, times that, bring your calculators, do the math in Naira, it's a lot of money. Yes. Now that we are looking at alternative wealth for Nigeria other than oil, and we are going the way of agriculture. I like what you said about providing the seedling, maybe even giving them the fertilizer and giving them the land to grow it. But right now, people who grow it are growing it in secrecy. They don't even know the health component of what they grow. They grow for abuse. They grow for social use. Recreation. They are not growing for the health benefits. So it is something that we need to look into very much. Barrister Evans Ofile, you have really educated us on the legal benefits of the use of cannabis. We need also to know that this program has been on cannabis, not about the abuse, not about the social or the recreational usage. We have looked at it purely on the health benefits and also the economic growth and how it can impact on our GDP, do they call it in Nigeria? And that is what it has been. Remember, in Nigeria, cannabis, the use of it, the growth of it, the cultivation of it, the possession of it, and so on, is still illegal. And the fine for it is 25 years.
15 years imprisonment, not less than 50 years imprisonment, not more than 25 years imprisonment.
Not less than 15 years and not more than 20. That's a lifetime, for you to want to waste for a single use of social recreation of a drug called cannabis. That's been our package on the Amazons today. Bimbo, it was, we got educated.
Seriously, I am, actually. I was shocked, But hey, thank you.
And Barrister Evans Ofile, thank you so much for joining us on Amazon. That's been the program today. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.